So yeah, just to say hi. So how have you been? I mean, how's
Okay.
everything?
Okay. Our lectures have started yesterday, so
Okay.
the undergraduate students are back on campus. Oh, it's a bit interesting because we only heard about 2 weeks ago whether they would be coming or not. So it's been a yes.
Is it
So,
all due to COVID or other reasons?
yeah, yeah. Uh, so there was some uncertainty whether the students would be returning or not, and then the government decided, okay, yes, they can come, kind of, but yeah, there's not been much direction from our government as to how we should go implementing it. So it's been
I
interesting.
see. I see.
But anyway, um,
Okay.
I
So Victor
I
is coming.
I I sent him a message just now. I hope he's coming. We have currently have some power outage, which
I see.
just stopped. Um, I have a UPS to power my internet, so I don't have that problem. But hopefully you'll join. I've sent him a message just now. I didn't receive anything from him with regards to a draft to submit, so I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure if he actually did submit something, but anyway. I spoke to my admin person about that
Okay.
bank
Okay.
payment, and he said he'll ask the finance people, but he said usually when there's an issue, they immediately let him know there's an issue. So yeah, so he said he's going to ask them to follow up, but he says at the moment it appears the
Well,
university hasn't
it
been informed.
appears the transfer was done successfully. Okay, so probably there wasn't any issue that's something that. It's
So
just
oh,
that
it's
it
sorted
has
out
been
though.
returned. It's just that it has been returned.
Yeah, so I asked him about that, and he said we haven't been informed that the money has been
Okay, okay,
returned.
I see, I see. All right, all
So
right.
yeah,
Okay, well,
so
just see because I also haven't heard from the banks, so I don't know.
okay, that's still very very
Okay,
weird to
all
me.
right. Anyway, all right.
Anyway.
Okay, thanks, thanks
Uh,
though, thanks though. Yeah. So yeah, so Herman, maybe quickly, as students are coming in, and are you thinking about having additional students to come to
yeah,
participate or to join the project? Yeah, what's your thoughts
yes,
here?
yeah. So I have one master student who's joining us. It's a lady. She's coming in, and she's going to be working on also spatial the spatial web technology. I'm hopefully hoping that that will also cause them to be some more progress with the design and implementation of the algorithm. Oh yes, Victory. And then I've got a final year student who's going to work on basically deploying it on a bunch of Raspberry Pis and basically test how good it's working. So I've got two students who will be joining the spatial
Okay,
web team, if you want to call
nice,
it that.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be joining the same sync as we're doing now?
So I'm
Or
gonna the one is an undergraduate student, so I'll ask him if he'll be able to join, but he might have other lectures as well. And the lady, I will ask her to join on Friday.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, good, good, thanks. All right. So yeah, Victory, how have you been? How's everything?
Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry, like I literally experienced like a load shedding just now. I had to use my phone.
It's fine. Your voice is fine. All right. So maybe
Uh,
update us
um,
with what's the current progress and everything. Yeah.
so sorry, I've not sent. I was gonna send it over the weekend, but it still needed some work. But I think I'm almost there. I just need to add maybe future work and some
Okay.
conclusions, and but I wanted to sort of ask, let me see if I have some of them here. The title.
Okay. You want to share your screen? You want to share your screen? Maybe is it
So
possible?
that's the thing. It's on my computer. Let me see if I have it on Drive. Drive.
All right, that's good news. That's actually good news. If just future work. In fact, I think future work is probably one of the things.
Sorry, I didn't get that, Chinyan.
I mean, future work
You-
is often one of the easiest sections.
Yes, yes. So it's the future work. I'm still sort of should we leave it as, I mean, the goal is to generalize it as much as possible, right? Let's see if I can find it here.
Well, okay, well, see what you got. Yeah.
So I'm trying to open my Google Drive here.
All right. So meanwhile, okay, as Victor is doing this, so Herman, the master student is a new student. Is a new
Yes,
student?
yeah.
Okay.
So I've sent her a lot. I've sent her basically Miguel's master's thesis, and I've sent her a lot. All those vast and one papers of a couple of, that you wrote 10, 12 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
And the application area that I'm thinking of at the moment, because she wants to do something related to, her initial interest was in some data science or machine learning type of application. So
Okay.
I convinced her that the spatial web and data gathering together with some kind of possibly an agri-tech application could be a suitable topic for her, and she seemed to be quite interested in doing that.
Okay.
So yeah, so the plan is also to chat to Gert-Jan and to see if we can hook up her topic with the problems that the agri-tech people have, to see if we can get some.
Okay.
I basically want to use it as a proof of concept, basically, for the spatial pub sub, algorithm
Okay.
that is developing.
I see. All right. Good. So I
But
think.
she's literally just started. I think she
Okay.
came to Stellenbosch last week or something like that, and I think she's only registered this week. So she's literally started this week.
Okay.
But you
I
were
see.
saying?
I think what we can do is we can arrange maybe on one of the Wednesdays. Okay. Let's see, maybe Wednesday or Wednesday may be better. Wednesday or Monday to have chat, or maybe invite her to the mastermind. Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. To get to know and participate, and then we can see what we can do. Victor, if you're ready, just let us know. All right.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sort of struggling here. I'm just noticing now I don't have the newest versions here. It's literally the old one. Let me see if I can share.
Okay, all right. It's fine. So I guess what we want to know is like what is the current status, right? And also,
so yeah,
what's blocking? Yeah.
So the let me see. I wrote down the structure somewhere. At least maybe we can work with that. Sorry. So I basically started with spatial routing. In general, what it is, how it's spatial distribution of nodes, and basically a practical application. That's in the introduction now. It's like the introduction part. Also spoke it briefly about publish subscribe architecture. Its general applications, how it's used extensively in the gaming, not gaming, sorry, in channel-based applications like Twitter and YouTube, where there's subscriptions and then there's publishers, and there's like an interface in between. And now the question now is how this pub-sub architecture can be potentially integrated with with spatial
spatial communication.
Spatial communication, exactly. how they can be integrated in restaurant, but we went down to spatial communication. Just to remember later. So how it can basically be integrated with, spatial comms and potential examples. For example, so I use examples of IoT farm and what's the IoT factory, smart factory, and maybe like a farm where you have a distributed space. And then the idea is, how would it work? I had a small drawing of a field, like a square field. Now, I didn't necessarily use Voronoi partitioning, but that's fine. That's like,
Yeah, that's
that's perfectly fine. I mean, spatial PubSub has nothing to do with Voronoi partitioning.
With the Voronoi, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's sort of partitioned, and then the idea is, okay, there's this field of spatial routing or spatial communications that have been used in areas like gaming and, in gaming. And then you have, and then you have PubSub architecture, which is used in this certain field in the internet space. So the question is, how do we combine all of these things together, right? How do we put this? How can we use this in a potentially new field? And by using this, what can this approach solve? And that's where the area-based PubSub is sort of comes in play. Now, I had two titles in mind, and maybe you can also help me with that. The first one was an alternative approach to channel-based publish subscribe architecture. That's one. And two, it's spatial publish subscribe and with the hyphen or colon, and an area-based approach, right? Or something along those lines, something that suggests an alternative. Yeah, okay. And
that's
basically,
fine. I mean, the specific title. I mean that's fine. I think both of those could actually work.
okay.
What was the first one?
An alternative approach to channel.
Oh, okay.
I think the second one is maybe slightly.
I like the
clearer.
second one better.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, you want to either talk about the problem or the solution
Yes.
in the title, and potentially, that can capture people's attention and interest. Okay. So hello, Victory, can you hear us?
Oh,
Hello, is Victory still?
he seems to be back. Victory?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. So you said you were still
All right.
busy, still had to write the
Yeah.
future.
So at the moment, so I have done the processes as well as to what we are proposing. I mean, first I talked about how the current system works in terms of the basic PubSub architecture in a channel-based format, and what we are proposing. And basically in the discussion format, the idea is to point out how the intersection, how it is the area that changes in this case. So in this case, so in our discussions, the idea is now is this solution provides a scalable, when you're adding multiple devices now in a decentralized setup, you can potentially add billions. I don't know if that's the right word. I just use billions, but we can potentially add on, more users without worrying about latency, issues like latency that comes with the basic, centralized setup.
Well, I mean, so that's actually one of the questions we still have about the spatial PubSub. So because depending on the route that you take to, from publishing the message to, how it's actually routed through the various matchers to reach the subscribers, there is a question about, what is the impact that it will have on latency? Because you can think about it, if you have Yeah, it's the number of hops you have in your distributed system versus the number of hops that you have in your centralized system. So that's actually, I think, one of the things that we want to evaluate. And I seem to remember, Shunyun, you had some, that was what some of the issues that you had with the VON implementation or the VAST implementation was, and then you had what did you call it? You had like these shortcut connections to.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay. Right, right. I think those are, yep, I know what you're talking about. They were the, I think they were some of the like the connecting points or connectors.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was basically, if you know that that you had to communicate something far away, then you basically, you can think about them as like highways, Victory, that you had these, that you had some of the nodes had connections not to their neighbors, but to neighbors which are, matchers which are far away. In that way, you could, reduce latency communication. But I don't think you should worry about that now. I'm
Okay.
just saying that because I think the distributed setup doesn't necessarily solve the latency problem. That's still something you need to determine. Yeah, it solves the scalability problem, but it might not necessarily solve the latency problem.
Okay.
I mean,
Scalability. So
if you
I think the latency relates to weather.
again, Shunya?
Say latency deals with whether you communicate back to a central location. Okay.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. That's the case. But if you
And-
can like interact locally, that usually
Yes.
is
Yeah.
last round trips.
Yeah. So I think, Victory, the argument is that if all your messages are sent in your local region, then all the other nodes are physically close to you, so then you have low latency. But if you're communicating to some region which is far away, then the latency might be longer, and that's one of the things that we actually want to evaluate and determine.
okay, so that can sort of go into future work then,
Yeah, you can.
evaluating the latency.
Basically, implementing and evaluating the system is something that because you're basically proposing the architecture, but we haven't implemented or basically done a proof of concept of the system. So that yours is more a, what do you call it, a proposal paper, where you propose a new method, way of doing it.
Yeah. Research paper.
So Victor, right now you're left with basically title decisions and also future work, right?
Sorry, Shenyun, it's really difficult.
you're right now you're left with titles, the title and also future work.
Title and future work, yeah.
Right,
Maybe
okay.
reward this potential solution part in terms of the latency issue, and put it into future work.
Okay, so I guess a feedback on the title part. Okay, I think we want to, because you still want to connect to your main thesis work, which is decentralized spatial communication, right?
Yes.
I am assuming
Yes.
that would be like the title of your dissertation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something
is that right? I mean, that's
Yes.
my current understanding, right?
Yes.
So we can work backwards, you see, like by backwards, I mean, what would make sense for this concept position paper to sort of pave the way towards your dissertation of decentralized spatial communication, you see?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe because the main point of this paper now seems to be like making a case for spatial
Yes.
PubSub, right?
Yes.
As something that's different from the familiar traditional channel-based PubSub. And you're
Yes.
sort of describing like what's the characteristics and why is it important, why should we pay attention and all that,
Yes.
right? So I'm thinking maybe it's more like going along like with the second title. But something like spatial, publish, subscribe, and you know, and an area-based approach or an area extension to channel-based
Okay.
PubSub.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, you see, I mean, this is just a suggestion, but I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
the idea is that this is something that can sort of highlight that we are extending the channel-based PubSub to support spatial data and spatial communication.
Okay. Yes. So,
Okay, yeah. So I
Actually,
guess
like-
that's the feedback on the title. What does Herman think?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of saying, okay, we're expanding channel-based PubSub to include spatial data. I think that's a good angle to take, because I think probably the audience would be more familiar with channel-based PubSub at this stage.
Right, exactly. At least they know what Twitter is, right? So,
Yes, yeah.
so it's kind of like we're building an understanding, right?
Yeah.
For them to, yeah, I mean, that's always the first part of the work, to try to put yourself into context and
Yeah.
let people understand about like what are you in comparison with other existing work, and why is it, how is it different, and why is it important? Those are the key aspects you have to communicate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one other thing I wanted to ask was about the abstract. I'm even trying to see if I can find that. How much general overview should I give? And I know it's supposed to be short.
So how
because
many
probably-
pages do you have at the moment?
It's about 3.5 or so. It's not bad.
Okay, so then I would say your overview should probably not be more than like maybe half a page, maybe a full
Okay.
page. Definitely not more than a full page. So
What's the
overview.
total submission size of the paper? What's the total page?
So they've got
The-
a 1-3 page, I mean, like up to 3 pages is the short paper, and I think the 6 page is the
Okay, I see. So Victor is aiming at the 3-page submission. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this 3-page double column?
Yeah,
I think
so it's two
Okay.
two column, yeah.
Okay, 2 columns.
columns.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
that works.
Column.
Rather than a length, so I think the more important thing is the context. So anything, Herman, you like to feedback on the abstract part?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, when you write this type of paper, putting the context there, I mean, you basically have to say what's the current state of, current way of doing it. And then, I mean, channel-based PubSub is one of the ways of doing it. And then illustrate why channel-based PubSub is not, what the problem is for the type of application. And then basically from that point, argue why we want to expand channel-based PubSub to include spatial information and what the benefits of that would be. You basically need to convince the reader in the first, half a page, or in your introduction or your overview that, this is what we have, but it doesn't, it's not an adequate solution for where we want to go. And by expanding to spatial data, it will solve the issue and make the channel-based PubSub more adequate to scaling to these billions of devices. Because once you've convinced the reader that yes, there is a problem and that what you're proposing is a potential solution, then you can go into the detail of actually explaining, but how do you actually go about adding spatial data and the ability to handle spatial publication and subscriptions to the channel-based PubSub.
Okay.
And I mean, I think it should be, as I said, in a 3-page paper, you basically want to say, this is what we're proposing. And then basically say, okay, but now the future work is basically to go and implement and prove that because you're basically hypothesizing that by adding the spatial data to the channel-based PubSub that you will, solve the issue with channel-based PubSub, the scalability. And what you need to do then is you need to show, okay, but in your future work, this is the experiment that we do or the implementation that we do that shows that channel-based PubSub on its own doesn't scale, but if we do spatial-based PubSub, then yes, it does actually solve that problem.
All right. Oh,
Well, I would just like to add to that, enhance a bit, is actually the decentralization part helps the scaling. But what spatial does is to allow something that wasn't previously possible or effective or doable to become possible.
Yes, that's.
I think that's kind of like the enhancing capability part from spatial, from channel to spatial. That is a new capability. And and decentralization is how we intend to help it scale.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Yeah. So in other words, the adding the spatial data to it allows us to better and more effectively do the local communication and to basically have things which use spatial data to decide where information needs to go instead of having some kind of channel-based data to decide where information go. So you basically need to make the argument that there's a lot of our data at the moment which are more suitable to being categorized according to its spatial information and not according to some other type of data. Or it will be more efficient to do it like that.
So basically, at the moment, the current state of devices, a lot of them could actually they are basically spatially distributed. And the farm, I think it's an example.
It's also about the type of services that we want to enable and the type of information that we want to. I mean, as Shin-Yun said, that example of live or fresh produce of delivery. I mean, that's inherently where it is
an
very
area
important.
Problem. It's an area problem.
Yeah. An area problem. Exactly.
So we basically want to make the argument that the IoT or the fourth industrial revolution is basically it means that the services and the data that we have are more spatially orientated or is spatially important if you want to do it like that. And the spatial based PubSub basically allows you to solve area based problems, which a lot of our services and data has now become.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't solve all the problems, right?
Yeah.
But
lots of
but increasingly our data and our things have become more more spatially aware, if you want to call it that. And I mean, also if we have technology which are capable of efficiently solving area problems, if you want to call it like that, it means that it's easier to deploy things like lots of sensors in buildings or all these type of things allows us to instrument our environment better so that we have more real-time and up-to-date information about our environments, whether it's a smart factory or a warehouse or a school with kids running around.
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about the whole COVID problem and the tracking problem, that's basically an area problem.
Exactly.
Who's positive and who were they in contact with? That's basically spatial information that you want there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, Victor, question I'd like to ask is, what is that good for you about how to go about to finish?
Sorry.
I mean, is there something that you still need to confirm or
on the paper or in general?
On the paper, for the paper submission.
On the paper. No, I think that's fine for now.
Okay. So, well, this is my, I think the most important, my main feedback now is to
Yeah.
send us a draft. Okay, send Herman a draft, like now, okay? I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah.
as soon as you can, because I think providing some of these feedback would be better if done early.
If you can see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
don't worry about if it's not perfect or not complete, all right?
Okay.
Okay, I think that is one of the things to get over, okay? Actually
Yeah.
have more versions, more feedback, that's better. Don't worry about if it's not finished, not complete. Things can always be
Alright.
improved, but getting
Okay.
frequent and fast feedback is actually a lot more important.
All right.
Okay.
I'll send
Yeah,
as soon as
so please
possible.
just send that, okay?
I'll do
Send
that.
a copy to us, okay, like after the sync immediately, okay? That's like the most important thing now. And
Yeah.
then just finish up and again, submit, okay?
Okay.
You potentially will have chance to, do revision, but you need to get the first submission into the system first,
Okay.
all right? That's like,
Yeah.
and that also, completes your mental cycle of you have already submitted. You see,
Yeah.
there's a difference
Yeah.
between you have submitted versus and yet just to improve versus you haven't submitted.
True.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
That's
two
very
things
true.
I expect to be done by today. Is that all right? Because I think
Yes, it is.
I mean, is it still within the deadline?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, when is the actual deadline?
2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
I see. Okay, all right. But
Cool.
just send in a version now, okay? Okay. Trust my word on this. Send a version now, submit a version now. You can, until the deadline, you can continue to update, send updated version,
Okay.
but get your submission into the system first, okay?
All right. All right.
All right,
I'll do that. Yes.
okay,
Thanks very much.
all right. So any other questions?
For now, nah.
Okay, all right, so best luck, okay?
Thanks.
And it's going to be your first submission and hope you'll be a great one, okay? Well, I think it's already a very good one after the discussion and the structure and all the layout. So
Yeah.
you just need to submit, actually.
Yes. To submit.
All right, okay, all right.
Yes,
So
sir.
thanks, Victory, and thanks, Herman.
Okay.
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
sync again
very
on
much.
Thursday. And
Yeah.
the
Perfect.
mastermind should be this Friday, correct?
That's right, yeah.
That's what I
Right,
was gonna
okay,
confirm,
okay.
yeah.
So you will be at 8:30, right?
That's right,
I
yeah.
mean, 8:30 at your time. Okay, all right. So talk on Thursday then. Okay,
Okay.
okay, all right, all right. Thanks.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care. Yeah, talk then. Bye-bye, bye-bye.